Hey everyone, ready for some adventure? Today we're diving deep into Kun Khmer. That incredible martial art from Cambodia. We're talking way more than just kickboxing here, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Kun Khmer is so deeply woven into the history and the spirituality of Cambodia. It's considered a living art form, and when you really dig into it, you understand why.
So it's not just about watching a match then. I've been digging into Lonely Planet and Planetware. Even Cambodia's Ministry of Tourism has some fascinating insights. They're all saying this is something special, something you just have to see in person. Our mission today is to uncover what makes Kun Khmer so unique, how it's evolved over time, and why it's a must-see for any visitor.
Well, for starters, it's ancient. We're talking roots that go back over 1,000 years. You can see the influence everywhere, from ancient temple carvings to modern-day festivals.
Okay, that's amazing, 1,000 years. But what exactly are we talking about here? I was looking at the Ministry of Tourism's website, and they mentioned all these different styles within Kun Khmer, each with its own set of techniques and rituals. So is it kickboxing? Is it wrestling? Or something else entirely?
There's actually a surprising variety within Kun Khmer. You've got Bokator, which has these incredible ancient military origins. Imagine warriors using short sticks to disarm and strike their opponents. It requires unbelievable agility and precision.
Hold on. They used weapons. I had no idea. That sounds intense, but also so incredibly skillful.
Exactly. And then there's Pradal Seri, which is closer to what most people think of as kickboxing. But even that has its own unique elements. And then you've got wrestling, grappling, even staff fighting. It's a whole spectrum of combat styles.
Wow. So it's not just about brute force then. It's about strategy, technique, and being able to adapt to all these different situations.
Right. Exactly. And here's where it gets even more interesting. The Ministry of Tourism also highlights how Kun Khmer was historically performed for royalty and integrated into ceremonies. So imagine these displays of skill and athleticism woven into the fabric of Cambodian society.
That's so different from how we usually think about martial arts today. Like, Kun Khmer was this bridge between entertainment, ritual, and even military preparedness all at once.
Precisely. And that connection to ceremony and ritual, it just adds another layer of depth to this art form. It's not just about fighting, it's about connecting with something larger than yourself, honoring tradition and discipline.
Yeah, and that spiritual aspect, that's something that really sets Kun Khmer apart. The Ministry of Tourism's website mentions these rituals. They're called the Kun Crow. Fighters perform them before a Pradal Seri match.
Oh wow, the Kun Crow.
Yeah, it's not just stretching or warming up, they're actually invoking protective spirits, paying homage to their teachers, connecting to this whole lineage of warriors. That's incredible. It really adds a whole other dimension to the fight, doesn't it? Like a physical and spiritual journey all at once. I remember seeing a video online of one of these Kun Crow ceremonies. You could feel the intensity, the focus of the fighters. Like this weight of history and tradition behind every movement.
Yeah, absolutely. It's powerful. Kun Khmer blends the physical and the spiritual together in this really unique way. You can even see echoes of these traditions in the elaborate costumes and headbands that the fighters wear.
Right. They're not just there to look fierce. There's symbolism, meaning behind all of it.
Exactly.
And speaking of history, all of our sources, Lonely Planet, Planetware, even the Ministry of Tourism, they all talk about the significance of the Angkor temples. And we talked about how these temples actually depict scenes of Kun Khmer, right?
Yeah, that's right. So imagine walking through those ancient corridors. You see these incredible carvings that capture the energy and movement of Kun Khmer fighters from centuries ago.
I'm getting chills just thinking about it. Okay, so let's say I'm planning a trip to Cambodia. Obviously, Siem Reap with the Angkor temples is a must-see. That seems to be where a lot of the Kun Khmer action is. Lonely Planet and Planetware both recommend checking out local sports clubs there, especially during festivals like Khmer New Year.
Oh yeah, that's a fantastic idea. You'll get a much more authentic and immersive experience at a local club than at some of the bigger tourist shows. And during Khmer New Year, the atmosphere is electric, everyone's celebrating, and there's a real sense of community and excitement around the matches.
So we talked about the spiritual side of Kun Khmer earlier.
Yeah.
Does that spirituality actually play a role in the matches themselves? Or is it mostly in those pre-fight rituals?
The spirituality, it's really woven throughout the entire experience. For example, before a match begins, the fighters often circle each other in this ritualistic dance. It's called a ramvong, and it's accompanied by traditional music.
The ramvong, okay.
Yeah, it's a way of showing respect to each other and to the art form itself.
I love that. This combination of sportsmanship and spiritual reverence all in one. It's not just about winning or losing. It's about honoring that tradition the deeper meaning behind the fight.
Exactly. And even the fighting techniques themselves, they can be seen as a form of moving meditation. The focus, the discipline, the control that's required, it all speaks to this deeper connection between mind, body, and spirit.
It makes me think about how martial arts are often portrayed in movies and TV shows. It's all about aggression and violence. But Kun Khmer seems to be about so much more than that.
Absolutely. There's this artistry and grace to Kun Khmer that's often overlooked in those more commercialized depictions. It's a beautiful and intricate art form that's been refined over centuries.
Okay, so we've talked about the history, the spirituality, the different styles. But what about the practicalities? I'm standing in Siem Reap. I want to see some Kun Khmer. Where do I go? What should I expect?
Well, as you mentioned, local sports clubs are a great option. Planetwear specifically recommends the Cambodian Boxing Club in Siem Reap. It's known for its authentic matches and its welcoming atmosphere.
And what about cost? Are we talking expensive tickets? Or is it more budget-friendly? That's really good to know. I love finding those hidden gems, the more authentic experience without breaking the bank.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, you don't need to spend a fortune to see some amazing Kun Khmer. The passion and the skill of these fighters, it just shines through no matter where you are.
So true. Now, Lonely Planet mentioned that some matches can get pretty intense. Is there anything we should keep in mind as spectators? Are there any cultural norms, etiquette we should be aware of?
That's a great question. It shows you're really thinking about traveling thoughtfully. Cambodian culture is generally very respectful and reserved. So it's always a good idea to be mindful of your behavior. Cheering and clapping are definitely encouraged, but try to avoid being too boisterous or disrespectful.
Got it. Basically, be respectful and observant, like you would at any sporting event in a new culture.
Exactly. And one more thing, remember those traditional instruments we talked about earlier? The drums, the flutes? They play a huge role in setting the atmosphere during a Kun Khmer match. The music is hypnotic. It really adds to the intensity and the drama.
I bet it's electrifying. Okay, so we've got practical tips, cultural insights. I'm starting to get really excited about seeing Kun Khmer in person. It's like a window into Cambodian culture, history, and spirituality all at once.
You got it. It's not just a sport. It's a living tradition. It embodies the heart and soul of Cambodia when you witness it live. You'll understand why it's captivated people for centuries.
Yeah, it feels like we've only just scratched the surface, like there's so much more to discover. So to anyone listening who's feeling inspired to experience Kun Khmer for themselves, it's out there waiting. Do your research, find those authentic local clubs, immerse yourself in the energy, and who knows, you might just find a deeper connection to Cambodia than you ever imagined.
Well said. And as you start planning your trip, remember, Kun Khmer, it's more than just kicks and punches. It's a lens through which you can really understand Cambodia's history, spirituality, and artistic heritage. It's a journey of discovery, both physically and culturally.
So go explore, be curious, and embrace the magic of Kun Khmer. Happy travels.